Welcome to Streamers Behind the Scenes. Today's episode is about how to be distinct as a variety streamer. Today's guest is a member of the Twitch Women's Guild, Happy Bear. Hello, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
Hello, Heidi. I am doing so well. It is a nice, overcast, and 60-degree day here in Oregon, so my kind of weather, and I'm in a very good mood. So, and even more so that I get to come on your podcast and chat a little bit about streaming with you.
Awesome. So I like to open up my podcast with the same two questions. So the first one is, how long have you been streaming?
Oh boy, almost 5 years. It'll be 5 years in September. Sometimes when I say how long I'm streaming, I end up sounding like a toddler mom or something like that, where I'm like, "Oh, I've been streaming for 55 months." And it's like, "No, just say 4 years or 4.5 if you have to." But I've been streaming since September 2020. I like to say I'm one of the pandemic class of streamers.
Same.
Um,
Yep. 2020 as well here.
yeah, yeah, that's awesome. A lot of us just were looking for things to occupy our time, and we were watching a lot of
Yep.
TV and listening to a lot of music and playing a lot of video games. And it just was like, well, I'd like to do something else besides that, preferably something social. So I started streaming in September, and it was a long, hard road for me, actually. I probably didn't start averaging 3 average viewers until March, I think, is when I got affiliate, March of 2021. So it was a long 6 months, and then struggled to find an audience for a long time after that. But I'm sure you'll have lots of questions about that. I don't want to jump too far ahead. Yeah, really grateful that, I've stuck with it. And like you said, I'm part of the Women's Guild, I'm part of the Pride Guild. Now I have a stream team. And yeah, just really, really grateful to be where I am in my streaming. I don't want to say career, but in my streaming endeavors, I guess.
Yeah.
It's been a wonderful journey for sure.
That is so awesome. And what kind of content do you usually stream on Twitch?
Um, well, kind of in keeping with the theme of today's episode for you, I would call myself sort of a light variety streamer. I do have sort of content domains that I like to stick to. So we do a lot of Zelda, we do a lot of RPGs, and we just started doing co-working actually once a week on my stream. Because I'm a master's student in history. I'll be starting a PhD in history in the fall. My streaming time is a little bit more limited nowadays, but when you co-work, then you can still kind of like get stuff done while spending time with your stream, which I really am excited about. It's worked out so far. Occasionally, we'll do something else. Like we were generously gifted a key for South of Midnight, which is an action adventure game a little bit outside my normal wheelhouse. But we did a stream of that, and it was really fun. So we'll go outside of the norm occasionally. So I would say we're definitely variety people, but with a strong retro focus.
Okay, nice. I mostly just stick to games that I would say are more recent, like anything that comes out on the Switch. Like we just started
Mhm.
playing Echoes of Wisdom. We finally
Nice.
got into Persona 5 a little bit this year because that had been recommended to me
Well,
for so long, like over a year. People were saying, you should play that game. And I was like, I'll get to it.
uh-huh.
I'll get to it. But there was so much Genshin Impact. That's my main game that I play on stream. It's like, it's still combat, but it's like lots of dialogue plus combat plus just walking around and exploring. So I guess that's kind of like my niche within the variety of games.
Gotcha. That's great. That's great. We're actually playing Echoes of Wisdom on my stream right now.
Wow. It's so
Um,
cute. It's so
it
fun.
is, it is. I love it so much. I think it's a great, sort of like a gentle Zelda. If someone hasn't played
Mhm.
Zelda before, I think it's actually a great entry point into the Zelda franchise.
Right.
So yeah, we've been playing it a little bit, and then one of my viewers actually requested Persona 5 Royal through channel points. Um,
Mm.
I let my viewers do that. So we are scheduled to start P5R later this year, which is going to be so fun.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. Because I did have a question on my list of questions here that was about scheduling. So, did you schedule games in advance? Do you just kind of wing it based on what you feel like playing? I kind of go back and forth between the two. Sometimes I plan something out for, like, let's say it's like my birthday week. I'm like, I'm going to play Genshin this day, Minecraft this day, just my favorite games. But do you plan things out super far in advance, or do you just kind of go week by week or maybe wing it more?
Yeah, that's a really good question. My approach to this has kind of evolved over the years. I used to have my streams planned out like months in advance what I wanted to do. I'm definitely like that flavor of neurodivergent who loves planning things and having everything perfectly under control. Well, of course, life never goes exactly the way we want to, and so I found that I was just like struggling to keep to my schedule,
Mhm.
and that made me like uptight. And I think some of that uptightness would come out on stream. So what I ended up deciding to do was just I have like two different playthroughs going at the same time. One of those playthroughs is the viewer request backlog. So people can use channel points, and I'm trying to remember. It's like I think 100,000 channel points in order to request a game on my stream, and it has to be approved by me. So I've had
Mhm.
people be like, play this horrible horror game that's so scary and frightening. And I'm like, no, no, pick a different game. But anyway, so I'm always doing a viewer requested playthrough. And that's what Echoes of Wisdom is right now. One of my viewers requested it, and so that's why we're playing it. And then on my Discord, I have a game voter role where every time we finish a game voter playthrough, then the game voters get to vote on the next one. I choose the games. There's usually 3 games in the vote, and then people can vote on which one they want to see. And so we're playing Hades right now, and that was a game voter playthrough, a game voter vote
Mhm.
request rather. So the way that I choose games now is a combo of like I pick the games and then the Discord community votes on which one they want to see. And then we're also always playing a viewer requested game as well. So the way I choose my games now is a lot more relaxed, and I don't have a specific timeline. We beat games when we beat them because I like to wander around and noodle and explore and sometimes just kind of sit and meditate a little bit and vibe in a game. So I don't know, it
Mhm.
feels more relaxed, it's more interactive with my viewers, and it just feels nicer that way. And it's a way to
Mhm.
reward my viewers for being loyal and for getting a lot of channel points and subbing and things like that. So yeah, it's a lot more fun now.
That's nice. Yeah, I'm basically just kind of keeping an eye on the updates for Genshin Impact, seeing if there's going to be a new update coming out. If there's going to be a
Uh,
big main storyline quest, then I will plan to do that as soon as possible from when it comes out. But other than that, I just kind of see if there's any events happening. Like for Women's History Month, I was like, we're going to play Echoes of Wisdom because that is the Zelda led game, and
right.
I already bought it from Christmas, but I hadn't played it on stream yet. So I was like, that would be really good timing. And then I just had my first gifted game from a viewer. So now I'm going to add that into the schedule. So yeah, it's kind of a mix of those things of just like updates coming out, events happening, or if my viewers want to see something. So yeah, it kind of just depends on those factors, but I'm pretty open to pretty much any fun, wholesome adventure game, I would say. I just don't like horror games either.
Yeah.
I'm welcome to suggestions, but I have my limits as well, for sure.
Yeah. That's, it's good to kind of like build your identity like that as a
Mhm.
streamer where your community knows these are the games that our streamer likes to play. So, we're not going to go too much outside that wheelhouse, outside of that comfort level. But there's so many games within that that we can
Yeah.
suggest and recommend. So I think that's great that you've been able to do that with your community.
Yeah, because there's so many cutesy, wholesome games that come out every year. And so I know I'm never going to get to all of them, but if people have a suggestion, I'll try to get to it because there's just There's so many PC games, Xbox, Switch. As long as it's not like PlayStation exclusive, pretty much, I can probably play it. So just send me your suggestions.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny that you started Echoes of Wisdom for Women's History Month because Echoes of Wisdom was originally farther back in the viewer request backlog. And then I decided to move it up because I wanted to play it for Women's History Month
Oh
too.
my
So,
gosh, that's
uh,
awesome. I was like,
yeah,
this is perfect timing.
yeah, for sure. I mean, what better game to play during Women's History Month than this woman-led game? I think that's wonderful.
Right, because we've known Zelda as a character so long, but to have her like so central to playing through the story is really cool. I started off with, I think, Skyward Sword was the first Zelda game that I played. So we were chilling with her, we were talking with her, but it's like now we're playing as her. This is so cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's a great game for sure. So I'm glad you're vibing with it.
Yeah, it's really been fun. And when I raid people or when I'm just kind of like scrolling through Twitch, sometimes I like to look at people playing the same game as me. And that's how I discover new people. If you're trying to network with people or find new streamers, do you usually look for like the same kinds of games? Or are you searching like all different genres? Or what's your approach to like trying to find new people to raid? Because I just kind of end up in all different places on the internet.
Yeah, I used to be a lot more diligent about looking for people to raid who are playing my same game. But right now, so I mentioned that I'm in the Twitch Women's Guild, I'm in the Twitch Pride Guild.
Mm-hmm.
So I do a lot of raiding into people who I'm connected with in the guilds in some way
Mm-hmm.
because it feels a little bit safer for me as a woman, as a queer woman, to connect with people who I'm already kind of aware are in my circles, in my
Mm-hmm.
social circles. People who are in the guilds, they go through a level of vetting that makes it so they're a little bit safer, or should be at least. And then I mentioned earlier I'm part of a stream team. It's called Club CRT, which stands for Celebrate Retro Together, and it
Oh.
references the old CRT TVs
Mm-hmm.
that people used to play video games on, watch TV on. Wait, Heidi, are you from the generation that knows what CRT televisions are, or is that unfamiliar to you?
I've heard of it. It sounds so familiar. Oh yeah, oh yeah. We had those TVs for sure. I
Okay,
was born in
gotcha.
the '90s, so we had the
Okay, cool.
chunky TVs and computer monitors.
Okay, cool. So yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So the team name is meant to evoke some nostalgia, but I read a lot of Club CRT people as well, just because it's my stream team. I want to support my stream team members. So between that and then being in two guilds, that keeps me pretty busy as far as raids and also networking. Networking in the women's guild has been so wonderful for me. One of my best friends and I met in the guilds, and now we mod for each other. We do duo reads every month together. We'll pick a new book to read. We love to support each other's streams and raid each other, and we've helped each other to grow,
Mhm.
viewership wise, personally. So I'm really grateful for the power that networking can bring on Twitch. And I'll how do I say this? I'll stay on it all day. All day.
That
I
is
love the
awesome.
guilds.
Yeah, it is such a good resource. It's such a great community. I was just a part of another raid train, raising money for charity. It's just such a good, happy vibe all the time. And when I'm having like a rough day at work and I come home and I'm just like, oh, and I'm exhausted, sometimes I'm just like, all right, go to the Twitch Women's Guild and then just read people's messages and ask people how their day's going. And I just instantly feel better. It's just such a good place to hang out.
That's awesome. Were you part of the Thousand Dreams raid train?
Yes, the Dream Express. Yep, I was
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
streaming. When was it? It was Thursday evening, and just had so much love and support. I was rated with the raid train, and then I had a couple extra raids, and people came in and said hi and had some new follows, and I was like, "Thank you guys so much. It was incredible.
That's so cool. I'm gonna be part of that on May 1st.
Awesome. I'm so excited to see. I'm
Yeah,
going to try to pop into as many as I can, but I'm going on vacation pretty soon. So I'm like, I might not make it to everybody's stream, but I'm just going to like see anytime I can lurk from work. I'm going to try to do it.
I gotcha. Yeah, I love raid trains. This will be the third one that I've done in my life. I've been a part of a couple other really neat ones. So yeah, I'm hoping it goes well.
Yeah. Outside of like the raid train, when I raid people, the past month I've definitely been trying to find people from the Twitch Women's Guild who are live because a lot of other people were raising money this whole month for 1,000 Dreams Fund. So I wanted to take my community over there to somebody who I saw was fundraising as well. If I'm doing like charity fundraising, I'll try to keep it, within that. I'll be like, oh, this person's fundraising for St. Jude or this person's fundraising for 1,000 Dreams Fund.
Yeah, that's great.
And, it's about bringing your community somewhere where you're like, ah, yes, this is going to be a good time. Is there anything in your stream that viewers kind of have come to expect? Any traditions?
Yeah, we have a few traditions. We always yap for about 30 minutes before we get into any gaming, or co-working. That's been really fun. I'm realizing that I actually enjoy just chatting. I enjoy talking to my viewers, and as my stream has gotten bigger, then like the conversations have gotten a lot more meaningful, a lot more fun. It's been really neat to connect with a lot of different people that way. We always take a break on the hour, a 3-minute break so that we can disable pre-rolls. I have a really fancy BRB screen that my emote artist made for me, and we'll play music while we're taking the break. So, it's kind of like a checkpoint, like a self-care checkpoint. People can take meds, hydrate, stretch, get up, take a little walk. I think we do probably, have a few people that will like check out of stream during those self-care breaks, but it's good to like maybe that's what they need. Maybe they've been on Twitch all day
Mm-hmm.
and they need me to like kind of help them to get off the platform and go, go take a break. So I think that's a really good tradition. Sometimes when I say something like really controversial, or if I want somebody to listen to my unhinged opinion, then I'll say stop, collaborate, and listen, like in
Oh.
Ice Ice Baby.
Yep.
And then that's kind of a chat signal to like listen to what I'm saying. And then we can talk about whatever absurd take I have. Like last night we were trying out that new game Expedition 33. Really new, really fun RPG. And so my unhinged opinion last night was that Donkey Kong 64 actually influenced Expedition 33 and is an ancestor of that game for a very specific reason that I was playing up a little bit just to be silly, but it got conversation going and it was funny. So I
That's
can't
funny.
say that I apologize for for having that opinion.
That's funny.
Um, Other than that, I'm trying to start like a new tradition of having like a catchphrase whenever I sign off. But I'm still kind of thinking about what catchphrase I want. So that's like a future tradition. Other than that, I think people can just expect like a lot of chatty but cozy vibes. People can expect that my stream is very inclusive, very welcoming, and I'm really proud of the way that we can like go from really serious and thoughtful to like butt jokes and D's nuts jokes. Like we have a very unique vibe in that way, and I'm kind of proud of that. Yeah, I would say that's what viewers can expect.
Yeah, I don't really know if I have any catchphrases, except at the end I always go like bye. But in the beginning, I usually just start on just chatting. Usually people just talk about like, "Oh, how was work? How's your day been?" And I'm just yapping a little bit. And then once we jump into the game, maybe we'll talk about, for Genshin Impact, for example, we'll talk about Paimon a lot. And so we'll always bring up kind of those inside jokes like, oh, Paimon is the emergency food in case we're starving. And so yeah, it's just very conversational, and people will just show up and tell me about their crazy day. And I think they kind of like expect it's going to be chill. I'm going to be yapping a lot. I have a lot of lurkers who are great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Being a variety streamer, it's fun cuz you can kind of plan out and manage it, but also, if you want to just wing it, if you want to change which game you're playing that day, it's not like being just a Fortnite streamer. And if you stream anything else, people will be like, "Where's the Fortnite?" you know. So
Yeah.
I love being a variety streamer. We've built Legos, we've opened Pokemon cards, so I'm trying to avoid limiting myself too much, and it's just good to hear from other people about how they plan for their streams. And it's all right to be a variety streamer. You don't have to be really really good at a certain game.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's a great way to be, for sure. I think a lot of people feel like they have to pigeonhole themselves, and I wish they didn't. I think that people should feel like they can do whatever they want. I think it's good to build an identity of the kind of things that you stream, but there's so many different ways to do that that fall under the umbrella of variety that I hope people, don't feel the need to like pigeonhole themselves. One of my really good friends, Applejack Aroni, who's a streamer, she started out doing Valorant, and now she just kind of like does whatever she wants, and she just got partner, and she has a really thriving, fun community that loves her, and who she just is overjoyed to see all the time, and it's really inspiring, honestly, to see the way that she's made that happen.
That is so cool. I love that. So before we wrap up this podcast, do you have any other questions that you'd like to ask me about being a variety streamer?
Ooh, good question. Um, yeah, I guess, for aspiring variety streamers, what's the one thing that you feel like has been most helpful in attracting and retaining viewers?
Yeah, for attracting new viewers, I would definitely say that if you're posting on social media, you want to make something that sticks out. So I used to just do a lot of posts that were like, "I'm playing Genshin Impact, come watch." And that wouldn't really attract new viewers. It would just kind of let the people who were already following me know what's going on. But if you're being like specific and intentional and saying, "I'm playing the brand new update. This character just dropped something funny or like an inside joke or like a SpongeBob quote in all caps, like, don't be
Yeah, yeah,
afraid to
yeah.
be outrageous. And if people are searching for that game on social media because there was just an update, they're going to see that. People still clickbait me into watching their streams. So it doesn't have to be a lie. It doesn't have to be like super outrageous, but it just says something to get people's attention. And then for entertaining people, for me, it's just a lot of yapping, and people are either going to gravitate to my personality and think it's entertaining, or they're going to go watch somebody else. So if you think my reaction
Nice.
is entertaining, then you might stick around and finish the stream.
That's so funny.
I think those are just like the main things that have helped me, but it might be different for everybody.
That's great advice.
Thank you. So thank you so much for coming on to the podcast today. Please let us know, where can we find you on social media besides Twitch?
Well, I have a YouTube channel where I do a lot of like, well, I shouldn't say a lot of, because I've been working on and off on a video for it for about a year. But I have a YouTube where I do speedrunning content. I'll do like documentaries about speedrunning, kind of like Summoning Salt, if you know who that is. So I'm just Happy Bear on there. If you type in Happy Bear speedrun, then you'll find me. I have a pretty fun little blue sky. I try to post retro content, occasionally, just sort of like more community building content, just for local, state, national community building to help people to feel connected to each other and not feel alone. And I also post about books sometimes there too. So kind of a variety blue sky, just like my Twitch. But it's fun. I'm finding that there's a lot of growth on there, a lot of people wanting to connect. It's been really nice. So yeah, those are the two main places that you can find me. And yeah, would love to see folks come into Blue Sky, Twitch, YouTube. My Twitch community especially is, I think, known for being pretty welcoming and enjoying new friends. So we would love to see you there sometime.
Nice. I will put the links to those in the description of the video. Thank you so much for joining me on Streamers Behind the Scenes today. Round of applause. Yay. Thank you so much.
Yay.
Bye
Thanks, Heidi.
bye.
Appreciate it.